So soon after having the harp therapy, the sound therapy, the frequency therapy, for a certain amount of time, and it kept showing up my neck over and over and over, I went to my neurologist. I was finally able to travel in a wheelchair. I went to my neurologist and I told him, you know, at this point I was finally able to sit up. Kept having a hiatal hernia. It was actually the chiropractor that was able to fix my hiatal hernia. He kept having to fix it and fix it and fix it, and then eventually it stayed, but he had to put it back many, many times, and that's a miracle, because if you look online and you read about hiatal hernias, Western medicine will tell you that the only way to fix a hiatal hernia is to operate, which is not true. So he was able to basically put my stomach back where it was supposed to be. But I went to the neurologist, and I told him about my neck. I couldn't turn my neck this way, and so he decided to run an MRI. Turned out I still have 2 herniated discs in my neck. One was pressing on my spinal cord. And I think the whole time I was bedridden and paralyzed. And I also didn't mention that I had what looked like seizures. Like if I couldn't move and my parents were asking me to speak or trying to get me to move, my body would jerk like crazy. I was totally aware the entire time. But I think that, and I would go into a sort of a crash, and that's a word, that's a vocabulary word that's used for adrenal fatigue. But I don't think it was adrenal related. I think it was literally that my spinal cord was being pressed on and impinged. Probably with the herniated disc, but also just maybe other parts of my neck too, because that chiropractor had to adjust my neck many, many, many times. When he first worked on me, he found that I had an occipital fixation, which is right back here. It was fixated. My head was half off my atlas. The atlas is the uppermost vertebra in your spine. And so I'm sure there was some neurological effects from that. And those were the 2 first things that he fixed. 2 things that I immediately felt a huge difference with. And unfortunately I herniated 2 discs, and those aren't things he can fix. But I am now, I'm going to Palmer College, and I'm having them do traction on my neck, decompression therapy twice a week. And I'm hoping that my herniated discs are going to start to heal. I still feel that they're there, and but I'm not going into crashes. And when I used to go into a crash, it would be where I literally couldn't move. And this was even after I was out of the bed. I would go into crashes where suddenly I could not move, and it was always, I knew it was related to my neck. I started to figure that out for sure. But I couldn't move, and I would start to twitch, and I couldn't speak, and sometimes it was actually related to the hiatal hernia. If I could when you have a hiatal hernia, it's easy for gas to get trapped in your stomach, so I would have to sort of burp myself, and then I could come out of the crash and stop twitching and start being able to move. It's been about probably 6 months since I was bedridden. I can walk short distances now. I can talk, which you can tell. My hands are, I still have contracture, and I'm pretty sure it's from thoracic outlet syndrome. My neurologist agrees. He says that when I lift my arms up to a certain point, my pulse disappears. We did a nerve conduction study, and it did not show thoracic outlet syndrome, but he's pretty sure that I do have it, and I think I do too. It's the only thing that makes sense. But my hands still burn, and they're still very weak, and I have some secondary issues that have happened. I have stenosing tenosynovitis in both of my index fingers from trying to force my hands open when my hands were in contracture. And I have some Achilles tendonitis from, I have this shoulder brace which I started using because I thought it would help my hands, but it actually has helped my neck quite a bit, and it made it so I could walk. So the first day I got the shoulder brace on, I was walking. I wear a pedometer, and so I can make sure I don't overdo it and how much I increase, and I just like tripled what I had been doing. And then suddenly my Achilles tendons were hurting so bad, and they still hurt now. So that's like a main thing that's stopping me from walking very far. But I am making progress, and I am so relieved to not be in bed anymore. And I have such a heart for people who are bedridden and paralyzed and lost and undiagnosed, and there's nobody to help, and nobody even knows that they're there, and they're relying on parents that don't know how to take care of a sick person, and our medical system is so messed up, and the whole process of applying for disability and getting help is so backwards, and just people. There are thousands, millions probably, of people that are sick that don't have proper diagnoses and who aren't getting help because they can't afford it. But my heart is especially with the people who are in bed for decades. As there are young people who have been in bed for decades, and they don't have proper care. And more than anything, I feel like it's extremely important that I help others, that I help save people from that hell, from that prison, whether it be by educating caretakers, educating doctors, educating, well, I don't think I want to be educating drug companies, but, the drug companies are the ones that control what the medical students learn, unfortunately, so everybody needs to be educated, and, this process of treating the human body as though it's all separate and one part can be sick and it doesn't affect the other parts is so crazy. And so, what we need is holistic integrative medicine. We need doctors that know about drugs and that also know about herbs and supplements and minerals and food, healing with food, and how to detox, and how to help people with chemical sensitivities. And, well, there's just so much that needs to be done. But more than anything, I want to help people who are bedridden to be heard and to get out of bed, because that was prison, and I didn't earn it, and I don't deserve it, and I don't think anybody does. I don't think anybody deserves to suffer that much. But all that being said, I am so deeply grateful for my 3 angels, and then my continued support from people who I've been friends with, but I never would have expected to have done the amount of work and given this much of their time to help support my recovery. There are people in Atlanta, my friend Alex, my friend Bill, my friend Joanna, these people who are giving a lot of time to help me to raise money to make sure that I get to return to my life, that I get to go back to being an artist and a teacher, and I'm hopefully an author and a motivational speaker. And I've always felt like my role in this world was to spread love, and I'm an artist. I was endowed with these gifts, but it was never enough to just make art for myself. It always had to be where I used art to create positive change. And so if there's a reason why things happen, if things do indeed happen for a reason, then I know for sure that that torment, that hell, that happens so that I can spread love to the people who haven't been heard, who continue to not be heard, the people who don't have voices and the people who need our help the most. That's it. That was a long story, but I hope that it will help somebody. I hope that it helps you. I hope that it helps you if you're a sick person, and I hope that it helps you if you're a well person to understand and to maybe have some extra compassion and to hopefully be willing to take a little bit of your time to help people that need it, and to not just close your eyes, because it's too easy to say, I don't want to see that. I don't want to look at that. That's too hard for me. I'm afraid to die, and looking at that just reminds me of the fact that I will die someday. It's too easy to do that, and people are suffering and they need your help.